Welcome back, everybody, to the Power of Story podcast. If you are tuning in on Thrive After Sports, thank you for tuning in there as well. It's your boy, Taj Dashaun, athlete career transition coach and vice president of Self-Publishing 30 Days. Here today with a very special guest, Mr. Braxton Byerson, also known as Brax B. What's going on, Brax?
What's going on, man? Hey, I appreciate the opportunity to be on here, man.
Man, it's an honor to have you. And before we get rolling, we got to give a special shout out to the man himself. The connector, Mr. YB,
Yeah.
Robert Youngblood, YB the connector, aka the LinkedIn locksmith. We got to give credit to him. Shout out to that man. He just came on board as president of sales with Self-Publishing 30 Days. So he's been introducing me to some great people, of course, you being one of them, sir. And I could tell from the time we connected last week or whenever that was, it was gonna be the first of many conversations.
Oh yeah.
But man, let's just get it going, man. I want to dive into this story. For the listeners, in case they've been living under a rock, can you please tell them who Brax B is, and we'll just take it from there.
All right, man. So Brax B, I'm born in Eschenbach, Germany in 1989, man. From a military background. Mom was military, Army. Dad was military, Army. So older brother born in Germany, middle brother born in Georgia. And then they came back to Germany and they had me. And then in 1992, we moved to the States, moved here to Chester, Virginia. Moved to Chester, Virginia. We started matriculating through the educational realm of Chesterfield County Public Schools, Harrogate Elementary, Carver Middle, Thomasdale High, basketball family, doing this, doing that, trying everything in between. But we mostly stuck with basketball. So as we matriculated through our scholastic careers, we ended up at Thomasdale. All of us had great careers there. All three of us went over 1,000 points. All of us went over, I believe, 400 or 500 rebounds. And I was shy just a little bit of the assist record. Because my middle brother, he was the point guard, I was the shooter, so I won't pass the ball. But once we did high school, we all ended up at, like you see behind me, Virginia Union. All three of us my freshman year, playing on the team, and that was just like one big, like, phenomenal achievement for us to make sure our parents were proud, seeing all three of the boys play on one team, man. And once we play on that squad for that year, it was just like everything. Byerson brothers. And so after my older brother graduated, it was just me and my middle brother. And then my middle brother graduated, it was just me, lone man by himself. And then once I graduated from Virginia Union in 2011, went to play pro ball in South America, Montevideo, South America. Played a couple of years over there. Then I transferred over to China, and I played a couple years over there. And both of those were great experiences, man. And after the ball stopped bouncing, came back home, started coaching, started teaching. Then a few years into the teaching thing, I wanted to try something different. And then I got into the whole life coaching, marketing, everything that I pretty much did for my undergrad degree of marketing. And then life coach, I was pretty much doing that while I was teaching and coaching, trying to help my players and students achieve goals and helping them show them how to get there. And so pretty much, man, that's where I am now. And I'm just keeping the ball rolling now, man. Just certified life coach and have my own marketing business, and just making sure everybody is doing their thing to be the best version of themselves, either through marketing or just through regular life, man. So we're here now.
That's right. Definitely here in the building. Yeah. And I think this would be good for people tuning in on Thrive After Sports because, like you said, the ball stopped bouncing and you've been able to carve out such a great lane for yourself, through the life coaching, through the speaking, through the marketing business. Mm-hmm. I know you didn't just wake up, you didn't just like walk off the court and take the jersey off and just jump right into this. Oh, no. Like how did you decide, number one, that this was the path for you? And then once you decided that was the path for you, how did you sort of dive in and start carving out that lane for yourself?
So I decided that this was the path for me. For one, when I stopped playing, it was in China and I was supposed to get another contract to go to Australia, but that ended up falling through. You know how cutthroat the industry can be. So came back home and I was just working out still, hoping my chance, another opportunity would pop up, going to the gym, doing this, doing that. And then I ended up talking to my mom one day and I was like, Mom, what's next? Like, what can I do? And she told me go substitute teach. And I said, no, that's not going to happen. And then I was thinking, I'm like, man, flexible schedule, you do what you want to do, get in, get out, you'll be good to go. So I ended up substitute teaching. Started with elementary school. Probably shouldn't have been my first. Probably shouldn't have been my first rodeo. But I did that, and then, man, rest is history. I ended up falling in love with teaching. Did middle school, did high school, coached middle school girls basketball, coached middle school boys basketball, high school boys basketball, and it just kept evolving, man. And once everything stopped at that stage in my life, I was like, all right, I have to find something out. What is next? And when I got to that point of what's next, I was like, what have you been doing that is going to help you in the future? Something that you can keep going and not you start a whole another entity, start learning from scratch. Right. So I was like, okay, I majored in marketing, got a good deal out of that, been pretty much life coaching. So helping students, helping coworkers, helping family members. So I'm like, this is it. And then the thing that got me the most was once I stopped teaching, the wife and I, we had just had our third child. And it was like, no income from my side. Everything is on the wife. And I'm like, nah, that can't happen. So we start talking, we start filling out applications. We got to 40 applications. 40 didn't get picked up by any of them. So I was like, something has to give. Either I'm gonna do this last one. If that doesn't happen, I'm gonna just start my own business. Because this was the beginning of, not really much the beginning of, but kind of getting towards COVID. So everybody was speaking, passive income this, and being an entrepreneur and all this other stuff. And I wasn't thinking of it that way. I was thinking of I need to do something that has more flexibility to also provide for my family and do things of that nature. And so when that 40th application came back, we decided to go into a different direction. I'm like, okay, this is the time here to go ahead and dive into my dream, something that I've been thinking about for a while, but I've been hesitant about it because I'm like, not sure the stability that's going to take place. So I just took that leap of faith, man. I've been reading that Steve Harvey book and listening to Will Smith and listening to T.D. Jakes and so many other motivational speakers, man. And it's like, once you put yourself into that situation or put yourself into that atmosphere, you start to cultivate certain things. And I was like, this might be a good thing for me. So this is where I am, man. So that's
man, Brax.
Yeah.
I love how you talk about taking that leap of faith, even though it was uncertain for you. You knew that, you just had to dive in. And you mentioned Steve Harvey. Is the book called Jump? Because I know he has a talk where I know you've seen the video. It's like after the taping of Family Feud, and he's talking about,
exactly.
Man,
yeah,
that's the one that got me. Yeah, that was
powerful.
That's the one that got me. That's a dangerous video because you'll do it. At the time I saw that video and then I quit my job, and that's when I jumped into the athlete transition coaching. And boy, was I in for a wild ride. You know? Where he talks about knees getting scraped and all that. That for sure happened. But yeah, man, I think it's powerful, and I appreciate you sharing that because you could have easily just, gone the safe route and been like, nah, I'm gonna just do what's safe and secure. What do you think it is, aside from, listening to reading the books and all that, what do you think it is that ultimately had you make the decision to be like, I'm gonna go for it?
Basketball, man. Basketball. And that's big ups to mom and dad because like they told us, dad never pushed us. Mom never pushed us. They put it there to give us a choice of what we wanted to do. And they said, if you make this decision, if you stop, you don't quit. We don't give up. So basketball, like, pretty much saved my life because the whole competitive advantage thing and the whole competing. And it's like, you're going now into a field of entrepreneurship. Many people have done this before you. Many people will continue to do this after you. Many people have jumped in at the same time. But your competitive nature, I hated to lose when I was younger. Hated to lose. So now with me, pretty much everything depending on me, whether the money comes in, who am I taking care of? Who am I serving? Who am I making sure that they're able to drive in revenue to feed their family, right? So I hate to lose, and I don't like when people are disappointed in me for not producing. Just like on the basketball court. If I didn't produce on the court, coach gets mad, I sit on the bench. I don't want to sit on the bench. I did that for 26 games my freshman year in college. And I was like, nah, like, come up from high school, senior year in high school, I'm dominating, as people would say. You ask around, people say I was dominating. Then I get to college, the first 26 games, I'm on the bench. Mom is worried, like, why he's not playing you? Dad's like, why is he not playing you? I'm like, listen, I don't know. But I got to a point to where I think it was like 12 games in, I started going to the weight room on my own, doing extra lifting, doing extra running, putting up extra shots. And that right there was like, if you really want to play, you have to do something that's going to make coach play you. There's not going to be any reason to where he looks down the bench and says, oh, he hasn't been doing this. So I gave coach a reason. And now that competitive attitude right now in the field of entrepreneurship, I have to make sure that I'm doing my thing. If I have to go run an extra mile to do this for a client, if I have to do something extra to make sure a client is happy, I'm going to do that. Because that right there in tune brings in revenue for my family, makes the client happy, and makes the wife happy. Happy wife, happy life, right? So it's all a domino effect, man. And so, like I said, that whole competitive attitude that I had from basketball, it just poured over into my entrepreneurship life right now, and it's paying dividends, man. I'm enjoying the process, and I'm loving the process.
Yeah, man, that's a beautiful thing, Brax. And I love how you touched on the fact that we can take that athletic mindset and carry it with us. And you hear people talk about that, but for you to actually show the example of how you were able to do that, like down to a T, and also competing with I love that you brought it up, competing. Like, I'm a competitor, right? Mm-hmm. But when you get done playing your sport, you're competing with yourself. You know what I mean? And being able to take that drive to compete with yourself, to be the best version of you every day, I feel like that's what makes athletes great entrepreneurs. We might have talked about this. I got to have you on the athlete to entrepreneur panel coming up, man. Okay. I'll reach back out to you in May. I should be talking to you about this offline, but we'll talk about it later. We're gonna circle back in May. I'll get you on May's panel. With all that being said, man, can you just give, because there are a lot of athletes who tune into Thrive After Sports, and they probably listen to the Power of Story too, but a lot of athletes, Brax, they, you know how it is when you're done playing. You still have that drive. You still have that go-getter, the athlete mindset, but a lot of us don't necessarily know what to apply it to. So can you give some advice or just talk to those athletes out there who are like, man, I still got all this ambition, all this energy. I just can't figure out how I'm going to find my way and carve out my own lane.
Got you. So first example, like whenever I have a speaking gig, like I treat that like game day. Like I go through the same routine that I did for game day. It sounds crazy, but that's just how I do. Go to Wawa, get a grilled chicken sandwich, get a purple Gatorade, and get some Mike-a-Nite, and I'm good to go. and I'm performing at my highest level. And I found that out my sophomore year in high school. My brother and I were running late for a game. It was like, yo, we got to get something to eat. Ended up going to Wawa, getting that same thing. So every single game, like that game, I ended up with like 24 points and like 12 rebounds as a sophomore. And I'm like, okay, this every game, this is it. So right. even now to this point, even though I'm not dribbling the ball, running down the court, shooting threes, doing layups, now my performance level is for whoever is hiring me to speak. And so if I don't perform, I might not get that call back. I might not get another opportunity, right? Just like on the court, if I'm not performing, coach not going to call my number again. So now I'm taking everything that I've learned from basketball putting it into real life situations now. And athletes, that's what we have to do. The ball isn't going to bounce forever. And we all see that. We see that with Kobe. We see that with Charles Barkley. We see that with Kenny the Jet Smith. We see it with all the NBA analysts now. They played their years. And Michael Jordan, like, he's the owner of a team now. Dude's super competitive, so he's going to keep doing what he has to do to be on top, right? And that's the same thing that us as athletes have to take into consideration. Everything that we did to put ourselves in a better situation to win a game, win a championship, win a conference championship, win a national championship. We have to take that same attitude, that same energy, that same competitive drive and pour it over into our daily lives now, because some of us have families to feed. We got to feed ourselves. We got to pay bills. We got to do everything that adulthood is consisting of, right?
Right.
So we got to take that competitive attitude and make sure we make things work the way it needs to work.
Yeah, well said, man. Strong advice right there. Everybody listening, they need to run that back so you can hear what Braxton's talking about, man. That was some real truth right there. That formula you just laid out, I think that's really strong, because it could take you from point A to point B if you really just follow those steps. And I think that was great. So thank you for sharing that, man. Mm-hmm. I know that you recently came out with a book, correct? I want to make sure we talk about that.
Yeah.
So what's the story behind the book? Why did you decide to write a book? Please share that with us.
All right, so the story behind, first of all, the book is named Stay on the Tracks, The Journey of Patience and Perseverance, called The Little Purple Book. But on the 2-year anniversary, which will be in June, I'm going to do a relaunch. So if you guys want to go ahead and pre-order, go ahead and do so. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But my experience in high school, experiences in college, experiences in life as a grown-up, as an adult, as a father, as a husband, everything from those experiences are put into this book. And it started because when I went to South America, I was on my own pretty much until I met with my other American teammate. So for like 3 or 4 days, I'm in South America all by myself. Like, no parents came over with me. My girlfriend at the time didn't come over with me. I was just there. Luckily, I took Spanish from 8th grade all the way up to sophomore year in college, so I was good to go with speaking. But as far as knowing the land and where to go and all of that stuff, it was a little difficult. But that's in there. When my wife and I had our first child, we were sitting in the house one day, and he was laying beside me, and he just stopped breathing. And it was like, I'm like, hold on, this ain't real. So I told my wife, because I couldn't hit him. I'm 6'3", 245. I'm not gonna hit pretty much a newborn on his back, try to get some stuff come up. And so ended up he had acid reflux. So we got him straight, took him to the hospital. Like, that was, of course, the scariest moment in our lives as new parents, seeing our child like that. That part of is in the book. Like I mentioned before, me sitting the bench for 26 games my freshman year in college, that came from the book. And it's all about just staying on track. You're gonna experience some bumps, you're gonna experience some bruises, you're gonna go through some dark times in your life. Chapter 4 is called Tunnels. Those dark times in your life is like there to like pretty much just block off all the outside influences, so you can just pretty much focus on yourself, right? Chapter 2 is Derailed. That's when you get knocked off course, but you got to get back on. You get prepared, get back on course, keep tracking. And then it's a lot of other experiences that went into this book, man. And it's like, I got to get this out because there are some people that need to read this book, some people that need to hear about my story, right? And it's not my whole story, but it's a motivational piece about my story. And since I released it 2 years ago, I've gotten a lot of reviews about it, and it's been a great journey of this book, man. Just knowing that I've helped people get through divorces, I help people get through abusive relationships, I help people get through job loss. It's so many things that just this book right here that I had no idea what's going to happen, a lot of people are just sending messages, sending DMs, sending book reviews all over the place, man. And it's a great journey. And I'm glad that I wrote this book and I published this book and I got it out to make sure that other people stay on track. I mean, it's easy to just give up once you get beat up so many times. It's easy. But if you just practice patience and have perseverance, I promise you the light at the end of the tunnel is going to show up and it's going to be the best time of your life.
Man, that's a beautiful thing. With the book itself, how did you decide that you even wanted to write a book? Was it just kind of like, you know what I mean? What was the motivation? Because you were already speaking. Mm-hmm.
No, I started speaking after I wrote the book.
Oh, okay,
yeah. So
okay,
I was just
okay.
like, I was just in the house and I have random thoughts sometimes, and I told my wife, I was like, I want to write a book. She was like, do it. And I was like, okay, that was easy. So like, I just started writing, like when I was teaching, I would start writing stuff down. Like I just put it in a Word document, just write stuff down. And eventually it just turned into a book. And then I went through all of the formatting and publishing and stuff, self-publishing, and then had a book, man. It was there. So
yeah, and it's crazy how, because I never planned on doing any speaking, but then when I published my first book last year, all of a sudden, all these doors start opening up. I didn't even, like you said, I didn't even really have to do any work for it. People just see the book, or you might send someone the book and they're like, hey, would you like to speak at XYZ? Or I have this event coming up. Next thing you know, you're speaking all over the place. So it's really cool. And that's why I was curious, like, you know, was it part of the plan to enhance what you're doing with the speaking to get your message out there? But it's kind of even better because it happened almost by accident, you know?
Exactly. So the whole speaking thing, that's like second nature, because I took a class at Union. I took a public speaking class. Never did I think that I was going to need it. Right? So that was junior year in college. I was like, okay, let's put a class on my schedule so I can fill up some space. Ended up enjoying the class, like tremendously. Enjoyed the class because we talked about any and everything. And we was just like on the spot. Give us a topic. We talked for like 3-4 minutes. And so now when the book came out, like you said, opportunities just opened up, and speaking is like, I'm here, like I'm ready. Like, let's go.
Right, man, that's perfect. And then with the marketing, because did you say you were a marketing major?
Yes, marketing major.
Okay. So I'd like to dive into that a little bit, because I know I have a lot of people who I run across, especially former athletes, who they want to get into the marketing side of things. But you actually build your own marketing business. Like, what does that even look like? If I'm just ground zero, like I want to start a marketing business, how do I get started? How do I determine what type of clients I'm going for? All of that.
Right. So the first thing that you want to take into consideration is, like you said, who do you want to help? Who's the best client for you that you know a lot of information about that industry, and what value can you add to their organization, and what information can you help them with that's going to provide them with more sustainability, with more engagement with their customers or clients or patients, and get them out there, creating that visibility to bring more people to them, attract more people. And so figuring out who you want to serve, that's the first step. And once you get that first step under control, I would say it's easy, because the creativity, if you're a marketing major, your mind has to like think outside the box the entire time. You have to find out what it is that other marketers aren't doing. Once you find out what the other marketers aren't doing, you do that. And once you do that and you become a master at that, stay committed, stay consistent, have self-discipline on creating and maintaining and bettering your craft every day, just like you would if you were an athlete. Just keep going, find ways to get better. And then everything is like really going to fall into place. But you have to be faithful. You have to be hopeful. All right. Because when I started my marketing business, I wasn't getting clients. Nobody knew me. Right. So I just started being consistent with posting on my page and going to different events, talking to people and all this. And then I got in contact with a health facility based out of Richmond. I've been there. They've been my client for 2 years now. And I just got 2 more clients last week. So everything's like just falling through the pipeline now, man. But with me being consistent and me making sure that I'm putting myself out there, connecting with other people. Like my brother, he knows a lot of people in his industry. He's a financial analyst, and I see a lot of people with like when they're walking around, and sometimes I'll just drop a card off and like just put it on the table somewhere, and somebody will pick it up and they'll text me or email me or whatever. It's just things like that, because you never know what somebody is needing, right? And so if you like at the just at like at the post office when I go ship my books off, I just leave a couple books there, and it's like some people will pick it up, some people won't, and or somebody will be like, "Sir, you left your book." I was like, "Oh, you can have it," and then and then they'll end up finding me on Facebook and texting me saying, "I really enjoyed your book. This book really saved my life." I'm like, "Wow," and, and it's just that's marketing right there.
Right.
Because you don't know who these people are. You don't know what companies they work for. They could work for a Fortune 500 company. They read this book, it changes their life. Now you probably get a recurring speaking engagement for a big Fortune 500 company, making so many dollars an hour just to speak, right? So it's all about knowing who you serve, putting yourself out there, connecting yourself, and just making sure that you are putting yourself in a position to always win, just like in sports.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. I love that. That's organic marketing at its finest right there. You just leave the book sitting around or leave the business card, man. You
Yep.
can't beat that. I love that. I love that. I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna start doing that, man. I'm gonna just have some extra books on hand or whatever that looks like. You just inspired me to do that, man. I really like that. I want to talk to you about like what's next? What's next for Braxby? Because you already got so many great things going on. Like we could talk short term, we could talk more long term into the future, but what do you foresee as the next chapter?
Oh man. I just recently, I was looking at the NAACP Image Awards, and I told my wife, I said, I want to be the social influencer person to win that award, and so that's what I'm striving for. That's what I'm striving for. So I got a couple books in the pipeline for students. Um, I can give the name. It's going to be released in like the next couple of months here. Um, it's called "You Got This: The Student Trifecta for Academic Achievement," and it's relating how I specialize in 3-point shooting and stuff in basketball, and I put how I specialize in three characteristics that I took full advantage of as a student. Choices, confidence, and character. Same thing I did in basketball to elevate my academic and my athletic careers. And so that's what I'm putting that book to help students who are coming up through the ranks with those. And speaking engagements, man, just flying from all over, man. I got Cali at the end of the month. I got Mississippi next month, and I got Delaware the same month of May, and so yeah, everything's just flying all over the place, man. And I'm just here for it all. So books, speaking engagements, touching as many youth as I possibly can with my message and empowerment. I'm on the quest to 1 million students. So I'm on my way. I haven't put a timeline on it, but I'm going to make sure I get there. That's for sure.
That's right.
That competitive attitude, man. We talking about. I'm gonna get there. So yeah, man. That's pretty much what I got coming down the pipeline right now.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, just out of curiosity, what part of Cali are you gonna be in?
They didn't give me an exact part. West Cali. Let me see.
Like, if it's SoCal or Northern California.
He just sent me. Here we go.
I'm asking because I just moved from San Diego to Austin, Texas.
North Hollywood.
Man, I used to work out there. Okay. Yeah, man. Okay. Yeah, congratulations on that, man.
Thanks, man. It's a student leadership conference.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I'm trying to think. There's some real good spots out there, man. It's slipping my mind. I was working in North Hollywood like 2016, but that's neither here nor there, man. I just want to say, thank you for coming on and sharing. This has been a phenomenal episode. I want to kind of leave it open before we tell people how they can get in touch with you. Any just parting words, anything that's on your heart that you want to share with people tuning in to the Power of Story or Thrive After Sports?
Yeah, man, I recently just got some dental work done. I told my wife a couple years ago, because she's a dentist, and I told her, I said, man, I want to get some braces. And I probably shouldn't have told her this because it was like, oh, good, I get to pull some teeth. So I recently went to her to get some dental work done, and the dental assistant was prepping me and letting me know all these things, and she said, you got to get 3 shots today. I'm like, oh wow, I signed up for this. So she gave me the 3 shots, and we were doing everything, and wife got me in and out quickly, man. And I was just like, I was listening to myself being quiet as she was doing the work, and I was like, oh, this is a good lesson right here. We all are on our quest to want to do something better for our lives, to want to accomplish something great in our life, right? But the process is going to hurt. It's going to hurt bad. And some people's process is going to take shorter time. Some people's process is going to take a longer time. But if you're patient and you persevere, I promise you, the process is the thing that you are going to treasure the most, while the result is for other people to see everything that you endured. Well, not everything, but most of the things that you endured. And now you're to a point to where you can be of benefit and you can be of gratitude to so many other people just by immersing yourself in gratitude and then trusting the process, man. So trust the process, be patient and persevere, man. You'll make your way to the top.
Drop the mic, Brax B. Brax B, ladies and gentlemen. Man, okay, all right. Now you got to tell people, please, how we'll have all your information in the show notes. Okay. But just while we're on the topic, man, especially after you just drop those bars right there, please tell people how they can get in touch with you, how they can reach out, all of that.
All right, on Facebook, you can type Braxby Speaks. You'll find me there. That's my speaking page. Instagram, you can go to Braxby_7. You'll find me there. LinkedIn, you can go to Braxton Byerson, type that in. You'll find me. Twitter, if you go to halftime 24, the 7, the T in halftime is a 7. So half 7 IME 24 on Twitter, you'll find me. And my website is www.braxb.org. You'll find me there. You'll find everything I'm available for, and you'll see some of my story. You'll see some client testimonials on the book and some of the speaking engagements, and that's pretty much it, man.
Awesome. Well, man, thank you for coming on and sharing. I definitely appreciate your time. You dropped tremendous value for everybody listening. Everybody, please go get in touch with this man. Like I said, we'll have all the information on the show notes. This has been another phenomenal episode of The Power of Story and Thrive After Sports with the man himself, Brax B. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Thanks, man, for having me.
Thank you, brother.